We have a guest making 50,000 US dollars every month. He has almost always been on the leaderboard in the content creation campus of the real world. So he's a star even in the content creation campus of the real world. If this is your first time watching me, do hit that subscribe button. Welcome to Dieselhead. This is Vivek. Let's roll the video, fellas. So, Luke Rall, welcome to the channel, buddy. Please tell us something about yourself, yaar. I've been thinking about getting you here since a long time, and finally we are here.
Hi, my name is Luke Rall. I'm a 19-year-old South African, and I've been inside the real world for over 11 months. And ever since I joined, I've made over $100,000.
जिन लोगों को TRW ज्वाइन करने में दिक्कत आ रही है, वो मेरे चैनल की प्लेलिस्ट जॉइन द रियल वर्ल्ड की 3 वीडियोस को ध्यान से देखें. डिस्क्रिप्शन में प्रोवाइडेड जेन्युइन 1 मंथ क्रिप्टो लिंक्स या नॉर्मल लिंक्स को फॉलो करके द रियल वर्ल्ड इजीली ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. ये सारे लिंक मुझे TRW ने प्रोवाइड किए हैं. अगर बाइनेंस या बायबिट पे काम नहीं बन रहा है तो बिंगएक्स यूज कर सकते हैं USDT परचेज करने के लिए. अगर फिर भी इशू आ रहे हैं तो कमेंट सेक्शन में कमेंट करो, मैं अपना डिस्कॉर्ड चैनल का लिंक शेयर कर दूंगा. दैट्स ग्रेट. सो यू आर इन साउथ अफ्रीका, राइट? एंड इफ आई एम करेक्ट, प्लीज डोंट माइंड, South Africa is also a third world country.
That is correct.
Right?
That is very correct, yes. Very true.
And considering that, it's amazing that you made so much amount of money.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, when you start putting it into dollars, it's a even astronomical number. Even in America, these guys ooh and ah over the number. So it's to do it in a third world country is quite incredible, and it's a lot of money.
Exactly. Hell, man, you are making 50 grand a month, and you are on the top 2. You are on the second number on the leaderboard, right? And that is amazing. I have not seen anybody making 50 grand and on second number in the leaderboard since a long time, yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's a huge achievement.
I actually broke the record a month ago.
Yeah.
I believe that the past record was about $30,000, and obviously I broke that.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going higher.
I'm happy for you, buddy. I'm really happy for you. Look, what did you do before joining the real world?
Well, before joining the real world, when I joined the real world, I was still in high school. So I guess before I joined, I was still doing school. I didn't actually have a job. Jobs are scarce here in South Africa. And, I just remember before joining, it was almost like I wanted to do something greater, but there was almost a restriction. There was no actual path here. I mean, if you go into other places in the world, it's very easy to start your own business or to find a job that you can start working, under a mentor. But here it's not the same. If you don't go to university, you oftentimes just end up without a job or working the very, very, very low paying jobs and battling to even survive.
Yeah.
So before joining the real world, I was basically just a high school student on his journey to go to university or college and get his degree.
I can understand that. So you didn't make anything before joining the real world, right?
Basically nothing. I maybe worked a couple, jobs at a market where I sold clothes, but nothing substantial, It wasn't big money. It was probably about $10 a day.
So how did you get the idea to join the real world? I mean, who motivated you to join the real world? Most of us always have thought that it is some kind of scam. To be very frank, I also thought about that. I thought that TRW is some kind of scam, and a lot of people think like that. So how did you manage to join it?
Well, to be honest, I remember I've told this story probably about 2 times on 2 different interviews. I remember at the beginning of 2023, I had a friend who sat next to me in class, and he was on his laptop and he was showing me this thing called, at the time, Hustlers University. Now, at that point in time, Andrew Tate was not a name which was very good in the public light. He had just gotten arrested. He had just got put in jail because it was the beginning of the year in January. And I saw my friend was scrolling through this, and I was actually quite interested because he was showing me how much money he was making. And for us, even now, looking at it, for us, it was a lot of money. And I thought, I really want to join this. And,
it was kind of a dream, right?
Yeah, it really motivated me. But maybe just like any other third world country, $50 actually is quite a lot.
Yeah, agreed.
And I didn't have enough money. And even with the sales jobs and all that type of stuff, I actually never ended up in that first month being able to join. It took me a whole year of saving up until from January to September to save up enough money to even join.
Oh.
And once I joined, it was like I was just getting ready for the scam kind of thing. I was like, oh, I'm going to join and it's going to be nothing that I predicted. But, when I joined, I actually was quite amazed.
Yeah. Same with me. And Luke, how did you get to know that this is your stick, content creation? Was you confused when you went inside the real world? Like, what do I do here? It's actually confusing for everybody. I was also confused when I first joined the real world.
Well, I think without giving too much away from inside, when you first joined, it was obviously quite basic and quite confusing. These days, it's improved substantially. They give you some sort of direction. But I remember taking the quiz. There was a quiz when you first join, and it asks you questions like, oh, how much money do you have? How much time do you have? And how old you are? And obviously, me joining with my last $50, I didn't have any money. I had unlimited time because I was just about to finish high school. And I was 18 at the time, so I basically had unlimited opportunities. So when I told the quiz that, it gave me 3 options. And at the time, there was business mastery, then content creation, and then it had another campus at the time, which I forgot the name of.
Yeah. I can understand.
And to be quite frank, I think I just randomly picked. Honestly, I was like almost like, okay, pick a number between 1 and 3, and then I was like, yeah, okay, cool, content creation kind of thing. So that was quite interesting.
I also did the same. I randomly picked the campuses inside TRW. First, I was in social media and client acquisition. It was something like that. And then I came to content creation campus, and there was also a lot of sections inside the content creation campus. Then I came to talk to camera section, and there it was. I met all you guys, lovely people, amazing guys, so much energy. And I saw Rico over there, right? And Rico was like,
yeah.
I used to give exam for authenticity exam, and Rico used to fail me every time. He was also there on the channel for a short period of time, but I enjoyed all that thing inside the real world. So, how long it took you to get your first client inside the real world when you joined the real world?
Well, if I had to give an exact number, I would probably say just over 3 weeks.
Oh my God!
And
really?
Yeah, it was quite quick. It was a weird timeline because, ironically, just as I got my first client, it was probably about a couple days before my subscription was ending. And like I said, I used my last $50. I had no money, and if this didn't work in the first month, I would have been out of the real world. I would have never been, or I would have probably come back, but for quite a while I would have been out. So it took over just about 3 weeks.
That's great.
And if I had to go into the idea and the journey of it, I initially started off as on the faceless path of editing and marketing and whatnot.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then I decided that was not working for me for maybe about 2 weeks. Didn't really click with it. And I was thinking about going to another campus, and then someone suggested to me to do UGC, or now what we call Talk to Camera. And after I joined Talk to Camera, I just said, listen, I've got 2 weeks left, or actually it was under 2 weeks. It was just over 10 days or 11 days. So I need to actually do something now, and I need to actually get the money. And within like a couple days, basically it was like I landed my first clients and I got the money, and it was all history from that.
That's great, man. And how much did you charge from your first client?
Oh man, my first client I probably charged, it was quite low compared to now. My first client, I believe, was 150 USD. If you work out the conversion, it's about 150.
I think it was a fair amount considering that you were a newbie back then and it was your first client. So 150 is, I think it's a reasonable amount, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I was jumping for joy. I can't explain to you. I was happy because you actually, when you get to that stage, regardless of whether you make money or not, you realize that the real world is more than just a money-making platform. They've got fitness, they've got mindset, they've got relationships, they've got everything. It's more of a brotherhood.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to leave. And where I was jumping for joy because that's basically 3 months. Like I said, I was just about to finish high school. I had a roof over my head. I had food on the table. I was lucky enough to still be able to live without paying expenses. So the $150 was jumping for joy because that was my own money. I'd never earned money like that before.
First income, and that too $150. That's great. That's great. And were you getting regular clients since you started working?
What actually happened was, I believe it's what they call a snowball effect, where it just starts rolling and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And ironically, yes, I actually got a lot of new clients, and that's one thing, is it literally just takes that one person
Yeah.
to start something. And I think I got about probably 5 clients that month. Or going into the next month, obviously it was transitioning. To be honest, it was all from referrals from the first client. So that month I got 5 new clients, and it was becoming more of a regular thing. There was a dry patch after the first month, like when I got those 5-ish clients. There was a dry patch in December where I actually made zero money. But that first month was pretty regular. I was actually like crushing it. I was really getting new clients nearly every week, it felt like.
So you never outreached anybody, and you started getting clients from your first client, right?
Yeah, I still outreached, of course. I think that did give me an advantage, because when you outreach, you learn how to sell. You don't just outreach as in you saying, oh, I can do this for you, but you also learn, okay, well, this is actual real world experience selling to people. I need to sell my service. So I feel like I did outreach quite a lot. I outreached hundreds of times that month, but it also taught me how to sell. So when those new clients got referred, it was like, I knew what to say. I knew what to do. I had that experience. I was confident in myself.
Exactly, that helps. Every step you take in your journey to the success always helps you. Doesn't matter if it helped you in the past or not, but it will help you in the future when you get the client. It's obvious. I agree with you completely.
100%.
So, how long it took you to hit the leaderboard first time?
It was January's month and it was February's leaderboard. I joined in September, so you could work it out. It's probably about 3-ish, 4-ish months, somewhere around there.
So I joined the real world in January, in fact 31st of December 2023, and I've always seen you on the leaderboard. So I thought maybe you were doing leaderboards before even me joining the real world. So even that's great. I am inside the real world since last 6 months, and you are continuously on the leaderboard every month, and that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Keeping the consistency is great.
100%. Consistency is everything.
So you secured your first high ticket client about 3 months back. How did you get that client? That is the mystery I want to tell everybody.
Do I reveal it here? Okay, I'll give the information of how I got the client. Mainly, ironically, as the same story as I started, it was a referral. It was honestly a referral from another client that, basically one day it was, hi there, I got your number from this person. I do this. How can you help me? And from that message, I sold to them. I said, listen, I could do this for you. And that's the key, is you got to get on that call the first second you can. They were like, okay, great. That's awesome. I definitely want to hire you.
That's great.
And I was like, okay, cool. I set up a call, on the call, and arranged price. That day, about a week later, got the payment.
That's great. That's great.
So honestly, it wasn't, everyone thinks that these high ticket clients, if you go out and you get a $30,000 client, it's going to be a big thing, and you guys are going to sit down across a big round table, and you guys are going to shake hands like businessmen, and some guy's going to come with a briefcase. Honestly, it's literally a phone call away, a couple text messages, and a notification of the money hitting your bank account. It was just a referral. Someone said yes to my price. Someone said yes to my service. Got the money, and I did the work.
Great. That's great. And so the key point is, take the leap. Don't ever wait for that perfect moment.
100%. Yeah, you got to take that directive. I think that many people sit back and they wait for something to happen, And oftentimes when you sit back and wait for something to happen, nothing's going to happen because the only person that can make the change is you.
Yeah,
If you don't take that directive,
exactly.
it's just going to sit there and wait. I mean, I could have waited until that person said, okay, what about price? I could have waited for that person to say, oh, what about a call? Or what about a meeting? No, I was the first person to say, okay, let's do a call. Okay, this is how much it's going to cost you. Okay, this is when we're going to work together. This is when I'll start. This is what I'm going to do. I was the person that said, I'm going to do this for you. And this is what I'm doing for you. This is my service. This is how much it's going to cost you. And this is when I'm going to start. And from there, it was as simple as that. You just got to be assertive and say that I'm the best. I'm going to do this. And that you are the person in command. Because at the end of the day, you're not just begging someone for money. You're helping someone out. And if you're helping someone out, you're obviously the expert.
Exactly.
You have to act like the expert as well.
Your attitude should be, I have to help him make more money. Or him means brand, the brand.
Yes, exactly.
If you are making more money for him, he is definitely gonna hire you again.
100%. You gotta give it that long-term value. Many people do the job.
Exactly.
Don't just maybe do the minimum amount and think to themselves, oh, why doesn't this person refer me? From the beginning, I always did more than what was expected of me. I was always faster than any other person that did previous work for the brand. I always delivered more. I always was made sure that I'm on time 50 minutes early. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I made sure that I gave long-term value to the brand so that they give me long-term value. It has to be equal.
How about payment terms? Do you take any advance fee before starting the job?
It all really depends on the client. I don't have a set time that I tell my clients, hey, pay me on this day. Hey, pay me this exact time, or pay me before the work. It really depends on how you feel and interact with the client. If it's generally a client that I know I have to push for payment, I can tell right away from the beginning. It's like, oh, listen, we have a call today. Or they like 10 minutes late. I know that I have to tell them, hi there, you got to pay me before I do the work, or something like that. But generally, the rule that I would recommend people to work off is 50% down and 50% after delivery of the service or piece of work that you're giving them. And the reason that is because it builds trust.
Yeah.
You give me 50% of what you do, I'll give you the work, and you give me the rest of the 50% of the money, kind of thing. It builds trust, because if that person can trust you with a deposit now and you deliver the work, all it's going to do is going to strengthen your relationship, because you're taking that risk together.
Exactly. Completely agree with you on that. So, what kind of gears did you use the first time you started making your videos for the client?
Ironically, if we had to go on the timeline, my first ever client was just, I have an iPhone. I'm fortunate enough that I have an iPhone, which is nice camera quality. I have iPhone 12. That was it. Honestly, that was it. It was a window lighting. I didn't have a tripod. I propped my phone up close to a window so I can have some natural lighting onto my face. And that's what my first initial gear was. And of course, after that client, I could maybe go get a tripod. And then it was a tripod that I got. And then after that, after about the third client, it was like, okay, I can get a better microphone for my phone. I got a microphone. Then I got some cheap lights, which were good enough. Obviously,
yeah.
They aren't the best. But in general, when I first started, it was honestly just an iPhone. You don't need much, because these days, you've got an iPhone, you've got a computer to edit the video. You don't even actually need a computer these days. You can edit on your phone.
It's great that we don't need any high-end gear to start making UGC videos. Everything taught in the real world can be done on the phone itself. You don't need any high-end gear.
100%.
Right? And that's a great thing.
That's the thing. If you can go on the Real World website and sign up and log into the Real World, you already have enough gear to make money. Because if you weren't able to access the internet, then you wouldn't have been able to join the Real World.
Yeah.
Literally, all you need is an internet connection. And if you are able to get onto a page, it means that you have a phone, you have somewhat of a computer. It doesn't have to mean that they have to be good, but it means that you already have enough.
Exactly.
I've seen guys who started on basically nothing. There was a guy who started in a caravan. He lost everything. He was an alcoholic. He had this old sofa. He didn't have anything. He lost everything in his life. On his phone, started, and he's made over $100,000.
Amazing.